What's up, guys? Blitzball Champ back with a brand new video. Tonight, do a recap of Week 10, which was the Carolina Panthers traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Um, let's just jump right into it. This was a really crazy game and probably one of the worst officiated officiated games so far this year, if you ask me. I haven't seen every game, but this was definitely one of the worst officiated games. Um, Green Bay Packers escape with the victory over the Carolina Panthers by a score of 24-16. Um, Quite a couple of things that I wanted to point out here. First off, Kyle Allen, um, he had an okay game. I mean, 28 of 43, 307 yards, one touchdown, but also had one pick, and also had one fumble. So, I mean, this is the second time so far this season. This is the second time where he's had to try to play from behind to try to bring the team back to victory. And so far, he's 0-2 in that. Christian McCaffrey was still able to get 20 carries, 108 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Had the chance to get a second rushing touchdown, but could not get into the end zone for the final play of the game. This was also a snowy game, at least for like the second half of the game, at least. But Aaron Rodgers didn't have any touchdowns, but only got sacked twice, which the defense had. I thought had a handful of opportunities to get some sacks, but just could not get to the quarterback. Overall, the defense really struggled in this game. The run defense was terrible. The tackling was terrible. Uh, Carolina wasn't really able to do a good job covering the deep ball. Devontae Adams had 7 receptions, 118 yards. Jimmy Graham, one of his receptions was a 48-yarder. Um, but yeah, just the Carolina receiving core did a little bit better. DJ Moore had a great game, 9 catches for 120 yards. Um, but like I said, the turnovers. Kyle Allen threw a pick and also coughed up the ball on a fumbled snap. So turnovers are never going to help. They're never going to help. Um, Honestly, just a combination of just terrible defense. But I really question a lot of the officiating in this game. And I think there were some really crucial moments where the officiating just didn't make the right call. I think the one that stood out to me the most was the hit on Aaron Rodgers in the end zone that they called roughing the passer, which Gerald McCoy made the tackle. And even though he didn't fall on top of Aaron Rodgers, they still threw the flag, which was ridiculous because if I remember correctly, that was a third down play. It was either a third and long or a second and long, and they just flat out got robbed on that call. Another penalty that really made no sense was the illegal formation on the field goal attempt that Green Bay had, where Mason Crosby missed it the first time, but because of this dumb penalty call, which they say that the defender was lined up over top the center, which was not the case if you look back at the replay. The center wasn't even completely covered. So, once again, robbed on that play. But, I mean, those were just those are two of like really really crucial calls that just were flat out ridiculous. And there was a handful of pass interference calls that were kind of suspect, but honestly, just the officiating was kind of bad on both sides. But I feel like mostly, there were a couple of calls against Carolina that were ridiculous and really kind of helped Green Bay. And this isn't the first time this has happened. There's a history with Green Bay kind of getting some friendly calls, from the refs. So this doesn't really shock me at all. But at the end of the day, it didn't really help Carolina that much considering the defense played poorly. The run defense was terrible. Just looking at the run defense, Aaron Jones had 13 carries, 93 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So yeah, the run defense was terrible. It was complete garbage run defense. But I will say this: Carolina fought hard. Like I said, it came down to the final play. But I really wish on the second touchdown that they didn't go for two. They really did not need to go for 2 points right then and there, because even if they would have scored this this last touchdown, they would have had to go for 2 points anyway. So I really felt like if they would have just kicked the extra point, then if they were to get into the end zone, they would have been able to just tie it with the extra point. But yeah, just they kept fighting. It came down to the last play. Christian McCaffrey thought he may have gotten in with some help by the offensive lineman, but with the angle and just how the view of the ball was covered, it really there really was no conclusive evidence. But honestly, I give Carolina credit. With how bad the defense was, they still hung in there and they still had a great opportunity to win this game. But this is a tough loss. This is a really tough loss. This is another strong team that Carolina has lost to. I mean, they lost the first game, against the Rams, and they lost to the 49ers, and now they lost to the Packers. So, I mean, it doesn't really look good for this team if they're not able to beat the tough teams, because that's when it comes to the playoffs, it's going to be loaded with tough teams. So just Carolina, once again with Kyle Allen, you know so far when he's playing, with the lead, does well at helping to maintain the lead, but right now he's 0-2 when having to play from behind, and it's not good. And with Cam on IR, this is just something that Kyle Allen has to, and I believe he will improve. But I think a big thing for me is he's got to hold on to the ball. He's got too many fumbles. He's got to hold on to the ball. But you know, he did some good things in this game. Was able to escape some hits, and really made some good throws, and just really gave the team a chance. The offense had a really great chance to win this game, but you know didn't go like I wanted it to, and it's tough. So they're now 5-4, and I mean I know the Saints lost today, but they lost to the Falcons. And if I remember correctly, I believe Carolina plays Atlanta next at home. So they have Atlanta and then against the Saints. So two back-to-back division games coming up. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to sleep on Atlanta. Yes, I know, their record is pretty garbage, but it's still a division game. And, as they just did today, they beat the Saints, which is the stronger team. So, it's just one of those things where, they have to be able to bounce back, and these next two games are extremely important. Against the Falcons and against the Saints. If they want any chance to catch the Saints for the division, these next two games are extremely important. Extremely important. But um, I think I think a really really big hit on the Carolina defense was the fact that James Bradbury didn't play today. He was out with a groin injury, so he didn't play today. I think that was a really really big hit on Carolina's defense. So hopefully he'll be able to join back in the lineup ASAP. But it's just one of those things where Carolina's just going to have to bounce back, and these next two games are important. Need to win these next two games. But the run defense has to improve. The O line, I mean, for the most part, O line gave up 3 sacks. For the most part, O line hung in there, but they could still do a lot better. Still can do a lot better, and there was still a lot of pressure. So this is just something that they're gonna have to work on, and hopefully they work on it ASAP. But anyway, that's all I have for you. Thank y'all for watching. This is Blitzball Champ signing off. Peace.